Launching an airline during the midst of a pandemic can always be challenging. However, it can present opportunities as well. But if you're adopting a strategy that is increasingly similar to that of an airline that failed to do the same thing, your risk is heightened tenfold, as you can probably imagine. Do check out my new channel, Globetrotting at DJ's Aviation. If you're interested in evergreen analysis content on the industry, you can check out the first 2 videos and help us hit 4,200 subscribers. Now, Norse Atlantic Airways, what many dubbed to be Norwegian 2.0 when they launched, and while the carrier rejected these claims, it was never entirely hard to see why many referred to them as this. The airline, founded in 2021 and commencing operations only this year, is a low-cost Norwegian carrier, operating a fleet of 787s between Europe and North America, similar to what Norwegian previously did. These operations were suspended with Norwegian in 2021, with Norwegian citing the pandemic alongside all-round poor performance, and it led to their removal of the 787 and largely those transatlantic flights. Norwegian found it difficult to offer such low fares, fill up the aircraft, and make money. And as per some reports, now over at Norse Atlantic Airways, filling up the plane has become seemingly impossible as well, with a couple of people on social media quoting that one flight was in the low double digits. A couple of weeks ago, the airline announced that the winter period was going to be a challenging one for them to navigate, one that would see them make some profound changes. They cited the high fuel costs and inflation, and also the idea that understanding customer trends would be relatively difficult, as a reason why we'd likely see cuts. So therefore it came as no surprise when the news broke over Twitter by a reputable aviation user that they'd be cutting services widely across the board to cope. The winter schedule will see the following routes still flying: New York JFK to Berlin, New York JFK to Oslo, New York JFK to Gatwick, London Gatwick to Oslo, Fort Lauderdale to Berlin, and Fort Lauderdale to Oslo. These are the ones that remain. However, some specific routes have been cut from daily to 3 times weekly, while some locations like Los Angeles have disappeared entirely. 2 services have therefore been cut, and the planned 36 initially flights per week have been reduced to 25 for the winter period extending through to March of 2023. The ultra-cost long haul is a tough market to crack. Very few airlines have found sustained success, and if they have found sustained success, it's usually with thanks to a domestic network that is robust and helps them along. I've already made mention that it is a tough market to crack, but the reality is it does need to be reiterated. It's hard to rake in the profits in this area. Norse, though, can be encouraged. Following the failings of Norwegian, they've adopted a different approach to cutting costs where possible, even through the acquisition and grounding or parking up of said aircraft. They say they're in a strong position should there be more twists, route cuts, and service changes. In addition, it also has to be mentioned that when a new airline launches, especially with a new updated route network, the reality is that some services may not work out as intended and eventually need to be put on the chopping board. This experience will be a learning curve for Norse Atlantic Airways, that's 100% sure. However, to cut routes only a matter of weeks after starting the first flight, like Los Angeles, is very frustrating for the passengers booking on board. And while Norwegian says they're in a position to continue flying for the foreseeable future, decisions like these can't go unnoticed, and of course paint maybe a bleaker picture than what the airline was originally putting forward to us since its launch. What are your thoughts on Norse Atlantic Airways? I'd be very interested to hear your take. Do you think they're here for the long term or the short term? I appreciate your support. To Jester the Flash Cuban, Got to Cast with B, Daniel Elliott, Leslie Austin 9, Will Jaden Al Walid, Neil Don, and Jam. Thanks for being cabin crew members and supporting DJ's Aviation just a little bit further. Take care, and I'll see you next time.